What's going on, guys? It's Kyle again with DTOM Knives and Gear, and today we're going to be looking at the biggest button lock flipper that I have ever had the privilege to behold. This is the ADV Pitboss 2. Stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome back. Okay, first things first, this is another knife that was sent to the channel by the one, the only Mr. Stud Fishin'. Ryan has been such a good friend to me since the course of my channel. He has been one of my first subscribers, and at this point, we can call each other friends. We talk quite a bit back and forth on Instagram, and he is just an amazing guy. First of all, he has an amazing collection, which I did an unboxing of all these different knives that you will see on the channel here in the next little bit, that he has allowed me to handle and to experience, and that's just, to me, so amazing. It's got a really nice collection, this being one of them. As you can see, this is an ADV tactical knife. This is Andre de Viller's company. Makes really cool knives. I've actually had one on the channel way back that was loaned to me from Big Bore Knife and Gear. But this, he actually sent me, Stud Fishing, we were talking about this knife, and he sent me pictures of this. And I was like, holy mother of pearl. This thing is big and badass. And of course, if you know me, I love the big badass knives. Of course, really cool pouch with this embroidered logo. I just really dig that. So let's get started. All right, first off, it's a biggin, so let's go ahead and flick this guy out. Watch out. Look at that awesome blade with compound grinds. You have a hollow grind here with flat grinds. The belly that comes up to a really cool point, swedge on the top. Just a really cool blade shape, which is pretty big. It has a blade length of 4.375 with a cutting edge of 4.25. So you've got plenty of blade to do what you need to do with this knife. It does provide a really well done sharpening choil. And this one is in S35 VN blade steel. If we can get this to show. Yep, S35 VN. Really cool hole and little groove here that we will go over in a minute. And then, of course, you see ADV and the Pitboss. And, of course, it has a little bit of fuzziness on it because it has been in my pocket today. But look at this. Just excellent. Excellent. Now, this tool or this blade, I believe, is Cerakoted. So, yeah, it's a black Cerakote. So, it's not PVD or DLC. It's Cerakoted. They did a really good job. I'm not really familiar with the coating as far as how well it holds up, but it seems to be just amazing. This knife, what is this? It actually has 2020, and I'm not sure if that's how many they made in 20, or how, this is the number of the knife. I do know that they have been discontinued, and they made a couple of different variations. They made one in D2 and G10, but this one, S35 VN and carbon fiber. Look at the beautiful carbon fiber that these have with very intricate milling on the scales. Absolutely gorgeous. Like I've never seen milling done on carbon fiber like I see on this knife. Just absolutely amazing. Andre de Viller, just an excellent designer and a maker of knives. This one is totally just out there and awesome. And of course, it is a button lock. The button lock on this thing is, as you can see, whoop, whoop, drop shut as everything. And with the detent that is on this big blade for the flipper tab is second to none. Very difficult. I don't think I am actually able to fail the flipper tab on this knife. So they did an excellent job there. It is rather hard to do, apparently, on button locks, making them flip like they're supposed to. Now, we just did a review on the Freeman 451, which was good, but the detent and flipping action on the ADV Pitboss 2 is much better. I mean, I can't fail it. It's one of those things on the Freeman. It popped out there, but it's just not as it's just not as good as this big, beautiful beast. Now, one thing that I really, really like, the Freeman also had a little slot. This one has a slot here and a hole. And with the hole, I can do the reverse flick, which is super duper fun. I mean, I can even get down there on this little slide here and do the reverse flick there. So yeah, multiple ways of opening this guy. You can use the hole to do the thumb or even a slow roll if you want. So very nice design to make this thing very fidgety, which button locks are always fidget just wonderland. So much fun to be able to flick these guys out and drop them with the button lock. Oh, so very cool. Now, one thing on this knife that is part of the design, I get it, but I absolutely hate locking mechanisms. Little safeties, I hate them. This will lock the knife open and or closed. When you do this, you won't be able to open the knife. Some people may like that. I do not like safeties on my knives. I don't even like safeties on my firearms. Sue me. It's just something else to get in the way and to mess up. So I don't like that, but that is really the only thing I don't like about this knife. This thing is relatively thick, and the handle shape, as you can see, is kind of distinctive. I usually don't like multiple finger grooves. For my hand size, though, this thing locks in like a glove. It may not be the case for you if you have smaller hands. It just may not work, but I'm not going to say it won't because I don't have anything to compare it to. But for my hand size, holy moly, does this thing feel good. It does not have a way to really choke up on the knife, because even when I do this, I'm way too close to that edge, and I usually do prefer a finger choil, but the jimping is in the right place in this particular saber grip to lock me in. I can get my finger or my thumb up higher if I need to, but it really feels good in this configuration. Also, of course, in the reverse grip, feels really, really good. This is a tactical knife, but this thing cuts like a dream. I did not do a lot of heavy cutting or anything because this is not my knife. But this hollow grind right here, this thing gets down to like 12 thousandths behind the edge. And then this flat grind gets about 25 thousandths at its thickest point. So holy crap, is this thing a cutting just dream, especially with the hollow grind. I mean, holy crap, does this thing slice through things like it's just amazing. And for a big, huge knife like this, yeah, that's something that's really welcomed. So I like the fact that it's got the hollow grind here for really fine slicing tasks, but it gets a little bit thicker here where you're not going to have to worry about this point. You can do stabbing tasks and not have to worry. And then, of course, a lot more strength out here to get whatever you need done. So just an excellent design. I love the way that it swoops out here. Like I said, just you're so locked in. You're not going to have to worry when cutting and this thing moving back or forth. Just for my hand size, it's money. Absolutely money. Now, this thing has full carbon fiber scales on both sides, but it also has full titanium liners, which do have some milling pockets out of those, titanium backspacer and titanium pocket clip. Now, the titanium pocket clip, you know, this thing carried pretty well. I mean, I'm used to carrying a lot bigger or big knives. This is pretty damn big, but I'm used to carrying that. So this is really kind of a funky way that they've got it. So it sits relatively deep carry. Let me see if we can do this. You know, it doesn't look like it may, but if I can get it. See, it sits relatively deep because your pants go all the way down to the bottom. So that's really, really great. Now, the close length on this thing is like 5.5 inches. So if you have shallower pockets, that might be a problem. But if you're wearing work pants, this thing is really, really nice. It does have a lanyard hole in the back, but it doesn't really take precedence over the pocket clip. You see how they kind of swooped it down. So it's right here in the back where people would probably like it. So not a big deal. I'm really interested in the way they did this hole. Let's see if we can bring this up. It is kind of a geared pattern hole. So really interesting. I'm not sure if this has another, come on camera. I'm not sure if this has another application or not, but the way they did the hole is pretty cool looking, and it works really well. It's in a perfect spot. Now, as you can see, it gets kind of covered up by the scale, but my even with my fat fingers, I'm able to get behind there and deploy the knife like that. So not a problem at all. Let's go ahead and get some size comparisons. I only have one other button lock in my possession as of right now, and which is my favorite at the moment, the Spartan Knives Payless. And as you can see, it dwarfs the Payless. Now, I had a video a while back with a bunch of other button locks, the Malibu, the Mordax, the Spyderco Smock, and this one. This one won it for me. Now, it also was the biggest knife, and I'm partial. I love big knives. This one is an absolute dream. I love it. However, the only problem with the Payless is the flipping action is just a little bit lazy, and so I'm not a huge fan of that. However, with the thumb stud, I can do the reverse flick or the thumb, and those work amazing. So the ergonomics of this really just tickle my fancy as far as being able to get my thumb right here. This really feels comfortable. It is even a little bit more comfortable than the Pitboss. However, I feel a lot more locked in with this 100%. Like, I'm not afraid this is going anywhere. This is comfortable, but I do not feel as safe, you know, doing like really heavy tasks, making sure, I mean, it does have a flipper tab to kind of give me a guard there, but coming back, the jimping is helpful. I don't believe I'm ever going to hurt myself with this knife, but as far as locking you in, yeah, this is definitely, definitely the way to go. Both have the same blade steel. The button lock action on both of these is fall shut as can be. They're pretty similar when it comes to that. Now you have a little bit longer of a blade here, so you can definitely feel it swoop down. One thing I can say is sometimes, not every time, like most of other button locks, the blade, when you're swooping it down, will bounce out. The Spartan Blades Payless does not do that. Hardly ever. It does happen, but hardly ever. And that was one of the things that I really liked about this knife. That has never happened with this one. I know I have not had this that long, but the way that this knife sucks in, I never had this blade bounce out. So that is a very good thing for a button lock, in my opinion. But two wonderful options here. Let's see, some more bigger knives that we have to compare to. Here it is against the AD10, which is a big knife, and as you can see, it's also dwarfed by the by the Pitboss. So yeah, let's see, one other knife that we have, big old boy. We have the Medford 187. So similar, but still the length on this guy is, you've got it. So it's such a big knife. The only other big knife that I have right now that can compare to the length of this thing is this bad boy. This is the Midgard Messer Viking. And as you can see, it's pretty close, still just a tad bit longer here. But yeah, that ought to tell you something. So if you like big knives and you want a button lock to go with that big, beautiful badassery, this is definitely one to look at because it just has a very more of a mechanical feel as far as the way you manipulate this. It's just absolutely amazing. Now, I don't know exactly how much this weighs, so we are going to find out together. You know, with titanium carbon fiber, even though it's got a big, huge blade of S35 VN, I don't think this is going to be as heavy as we thought. So yeah, so this is 6.8 ounces. I mean, that's pretty good for this size of knife. As a matter of fact, it's damn good in my opinion, because I carry even heavier. I mean, hell, I carry this knife, and this is like 12 ounces. So, yeah. So, weight-wise, definitely not as bad as you would think to have an overall length of 9.875. I mean, we're talking just under 10 inches here. So, that's awesome. I absolutely love it. The design that Andre de Villers has done with this is just, he hit it out of the park. All this integral milling on the carbon fiber. I'm not sure if the G10 version had all that. I'm not sure. But this one is definitely the one that I would have picked for myself. Also, it's the Pitboss 2. I am not familiar with the Pitboss 1, so I'm not sure what the differences are between those two. But if it's anything like this, holy crap! It's Very, very well done. And I couldn't be happier whenever I had this in my pocket. Just an absolute beast of a knife that is so different that when you whip this thing out in the office or wherever you work, and people are like, "What the hell is that?" I love that about these big knives. I live in a state of Alabama where I can basically carry anything I want. Freedom, baby. And yeah, so when I carry these big knives, people are like, "What the hell?" And it's just a conversation starter about the hobby that we are in us being knife people, which I think is important. We have a lot of folks in this community, and we get more and more every single day. Of course, knives like this are not ones that people are going to be, "Hey, I want to buy that for an EDC." I probably would not see most people doing that, but the knife collectors, the knife enthusiasts that just really appreciate the design and mill work and the things that go into something like this is just amazing, and that is why I am a huge fan of this knife. Absolutely 100% a Kyle knife for sure. I absolutely love it, and I love Stud Fishing for allowing me to have this in my possession. Would I choose it over the Spartan Knives Payless? I'm not sure. I really am not, because I love the size. This one is a big knife, but I mean, goodness gracious. Probably the only reason that I would, even though, because this really fits my hand like a glove. The compound grind I like, but this right here, I talked about it just a little bit. I do not like, if it did not have this safety, probably I might have to go with this. But I'm still very in love with this knife. This is never leaving my collection. But oh my gosh, that would be a close second if we could get rid of that safety. Now, there's probably some fixes that you could, make sure this thing, because it's pretty easy to. I mean, you've got some tactileness to it, but it's not hard enough to stop it from going unless you want it, because I have noticed there's been some times when I'm flicking this knife out and I have actually engaged the safety and it wouldn't go back. So if it's on there, I would maybe try to get them to make it a little bit more tactile, a little bit more pressure to get that safety engaged and disengaged to where that doesn't happen. But that's really the only nitpick that I could give on this knife, because it is absolutely gorgeous and I love it. If you guys are looking for this, I know you can probably find these on the secondary market, but I do not know what they're going for. I couldn't really find any of them, and what the prices were. So I might could get Studfisher could probably put in the comments what he had to pay for this, or he probably traded, but he'll have an idea of the value, because I couldn't really find anything. So yeah, sorry about that. But anyways, guys, I really appreciate you stopping by and checking it out with me, because this has been a joy to carry and to experience. Please, in the comments, let Stud Fishing know how much we appreciate him and how awesome that he is. Hit the subscribe button, notification bell if you want to see more. We've got so much more coming. The channel is growing and I love it. No monetization. You will not have ads on this thing. So you will have ad-free content for as long as you want to watch the stuff that I'm putting out. I really appreciate every single one of you. Stay safe in this crazy world that we are living in, and we will see you in the next one.